Good morning. Welcome to the podcast, Path to the Joy. I personally believe the purpose of life is achieving happiness. And I believe as humans, we always strive towards happiness. Be it a billionaire or being a CEO of a multinational company, at the end of the day, we always want to be happy. Today's episode, we are focusing exactly on the same: how to achieve happiness, how to have strong roots from childhood so that we can lead a happy and a joyful life. In today's episode, I have the privilege of introducing you Dr. Priyanka, who has 7 years of experience as a psychologist and a wellness coach. She has helped hundreds of her clients in achieving happiness and overcoming depression and sadness. Hi, Priyanka. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me for this beautiful concept. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it is our pleasure. Let's dive in. Can you talk us a little bit about your role as a psychologist and a wellness coach, how your day-to-day life looks in, and how your role as a psychologist and counselor affects your clients' well-being?
All right. Yeah. So my role as a wellness coach and organizational psychologist is uh, uh, assisting with employee assisting program, and it basically talks about employee well-being, the employee behaviors and then well-being satisfaction. Most of the times it's a work stress and how to manage that stress. All these sort of things. Whereas psychologist, we get into a deeper, we dig into the person's personality types and also, interventions, therapeutic techniques, all collaborated on psychologists.
That's nice. So, how does like psychologist role affects on your client and a wellness coach role affects on your client? Like, what's the difference?
Absolutely, because these days the stigma is actually becoming reduced. It's it's actually decreasing. So people are actually welcoming the psychologist. So earlier, it was not like that. Going to a psychologist means that you are having some sort of problem, but now it's not that you are having problem, but to get more stronger, to become more stronger, you're taking help from a psychologist or a wellness coach. So the stigma is actually getting changed, I would say.
That's nice. Good to know. Um, what is the role of a psychologist and a wellness coach? Whom to approach? Like you have gave me the differentiation, but based on my symptoms, whom should I approach? Let's say a wellness coach or a psychologist.
So basically, you can go to a wellness coach, for the what is this prior talks and psychological first aid also. So you can either ways, you go to wellness coach and a psychologist, but at the same time, when you want them to focus more on you, it's like wellness coach, we work an organizational setup, right?
Hmm.
So if you want us to focus only on you and then your personality and then your diagnosis and then your progress, then definitely you can seek a help from a psychologist.
Okay, okay. Can you give us a little background about yourself as a psychologist and your like overall personal experiences, your journey so far?
So my personal journey as a psychologist, what do you say? It's a balloon wala thing. Actually, I was not intended to get into psychology, but no, I could say God's grace or probably coincidence. What all everything nature wanted me to become what I am today. Actually, I was a commerce student, and then I took BCom in my bachelor's also.
Mm.
And then I saw one board which is written as the psychology department.
Mm.
Then I went to my sister, and then I was regretting by taking commerce as my degree option.
Mm.
But then my sister, who pushed me, towards taking this option, and then she told me that you can still opt for psychology if you have a principal signature.
Mm.
Then I almost, uh, protested, I would say, the simple formula or else, the passivity. And then, yes, I was in front of my principal for 3 days continuously just to see her, just to talk to her, and just to convince her. And
Mm.
then finally, the third day, she noticed me, and then, she was like, "Why this girl is standing in front of my office?" And then let me talk to her. And then that's how she spoke to me. And then, she referred me to a professor.
Mm.
Whereas, I was like, I was actually told that, admissions got over. But at the same time, by seeing my stubbornness and then, my interest, towards psychology, one more professor helped me to get into the admission. And then, that's how my journey began. And then that's when I started believing in destiny. I mean, like, in fact, I believed in myself more, because when I opted for that, I had got it, that
Mm.
kind.
Mm.
So it actually boosted my self-esteem as well.
Mm.
And that's how, yes. So from there onwards, I didn't look back. I could clearly sense that, psychology is my thing. And
That's
then that's
nice.
how I got into, yes, that's how I got into psychology, and then masters and a double masters. And then I started working during my masters itself.
Mm.
And then I was under psychiatrist, whereas I could get into a deeper section,
Mm.
and also a clinical psychologist. And like, I was into educational psychology, I was into NGOs, I
Mm.
was into hospital setups,
Mm.
and I was into pharma. And right now I ended up in corporate and
That
serving as a wellness coach.
that's nice. It's an inspiring journey. So you didn't give up like when things weren't going on your side. So you pursued it. Like you were there for 3 days, appearing before your principal, and you are like very persistent. So what if like if you wouldn't have got into psychology at that time, wouldn't that have been impacted your self-esteem?
I actually, sincerely saying, I actually didn't have any thought after that. I
Oh,
didn't even think that what if it didn't happen? No, I never. Probably it meant to happen, and that's how it happened, I would say. I
okay.
never think that, yes,
So even if it went for 10 days, 20 days, you would have been persistent? That's
mm,
nice. Yeah,
can't say
you can't
hypothetically
say.
question.
Yeah, no one can say, but what I understood from your experiences, not giving up will give us a chance on some day or the other. Yeah, if we
Yes, I
really
do.
wanted. Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah. Um, so what are your key moments from your childhood? Like, do you give any credit to those experiences that helped you who you are today? Like anything, a significant impact that made you from your childhood?
Absolutely, because as we say, mother is the first teacher, right?
Mm.
So we grew up, within the family culture, whereas we get to see lecturer, teacher, the Telugu teacher, the English master, and the PET teacher. Everything is our family first, and then comes to the next one, right?
That's
So it's like, for me, yes, yes, for me, it was like, all my roots were with the family itself and within the family members itself. Like,
mm,
understanding a person, and then, being empathetic listener, not just listening for the sake of listening. No. So I got it from my mother. And then, the spontaneity or else the boldness, I got it from my father.
mm,
And from my brothers, the braveness. And then, see, usually when we grew up with, boys, no, we also develop, such, few masculine things, I would say, right? So
right.
the boldness, or anger, support, everything. Like, I got it from my family. Yes, my roots were actually very strong.
Mm,
So as in, my brother, my elder brother, he told me once, like, after my intermediate, and then, when I was pursuing, everybody were like, asking me to take science group. Like, that time it was like, it was booming, like, engineering,
mm,
medicine, all these things. and
mm,
I was one of the toppers. Since I was one of the toppers, everybody were like, insisting me to take other groups.
mm,
Whereas, I was more interested in economics and civics, political science, all these
mm,
arts subjects. So whereas, when I mentioned this, everybody were like, there was, the opposition, like, they didn't agree to it. Even my own lecturers, who saw my talents,
mm,
basically. And then they didn't agree to it, and then they forced me somehow. And then somehow even I managed to take my step for that, because I am the one who has to study.
mm,
When I look at my, I should not get any regret, or else I should not get any pressure also.
mm,
So, yes. So I believe in happy reading,
mm,
happy learning, I would say.
mm,
So that's how, again, I was like, I was into commerce. And then that's when actually my brother told me one thing, which just, hit me very hard.
mm,
Like, it was like, see, you have chosen something and you should be best in it.
mm, mm.
So this one line just hit me so hard that, again, I was not only topper of my district, but I was also one of the toppers in state board also.
Nice.
So in common.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
So that's how it hit me.
Yeah, that's good to know. And since our today's episode is more about exploring happiness and how inculcating right habits from childhood will lead to joyful life, so I would want you to share your experience about like having right uh, teaching or learnings from childhood. What are the learnings or things that we can inculcate from the childhood or to our next generation? How to get started with their life?
See, first thing, what I observed in this generation is like, the virtual learning is actually ruling the world. See, I really do not believe in that, the core concept of virtual learning.
Hmm.
So when we say mother and family is our first teacher and then first school,
Hmm.
then definitely the physical touch and then, the physical things should happen actually. So that's what is missing in this generation, I would
Hmm.
say.
Hmm.
Okay, so this is actually a bit sad part also, because even mothers are not having time.
Hmm.
Correct. So I would say the root should be strong.
Hmm.
Basically, by teaching the values, because when we get that, physical things, when we are actually taught from our own people, then
Hmm.
definitely all that will come into the picture. Whereas, you will get to learn about the values,
Hmm.
you'll get to learn about active listening, passive listening, and then also non-verbal behaviors,
Hmm.
everything. So these are like, these are the rules, I would say.
Hmm.
And emotional regulations will also come. It's not yet, when we speak about virtual learning, that YouTube or else, whatever the channels that, that no, they are providing, I'm not saying those are wrong, but at the same time, it should be within the limit.
Hmm. Hmm.
So rather than virtual, I prefer the physical ones on simple terms.
Okay. So, yeah, I completely agree. Today, most of the kids are on mobiles or laptops rather than being like physically present with us. Even we got busy to be physically present with them. So, I believe always physical touch and human to human is always important because that's what drives us. And I would like to explore a different point here. So, me being a kid born in an Orthodox family, I wasn't taught to express my emotions in an articulated form. So, it's always difficult for me to put in my emotions before someone, be it love or be it anger or be it something. So, it's always difficult for me. And now, as I started learning how to stay happy or how to have a good emotional intelligence. So I interestingly I understood things are very simple and logical, yet we didn't realize it from childhood. So how can we teach these things to our kids? Or are they all already well educated with this? Because the generation has changed and there is a lot of generation gap right now. So I just wanted to explore this point. So is there something that we can teach to our kids so that they know how to balance their emotions from their childhood? Like, let's say through genes we get few emotions by default, but we should learn those things. I believe from learning we will get it, right? So as a parents, do we also start learning and following so that they observe from us and implement it? Or I mean, we are humans and we make mistakes. So is it something that we can give as a tool to our kids so that they can utilize from the tool and explore how to have a good emotional balance, which can further lead to a happy and healthy life?
Absolutely. You have actually pointed the right question and also an interesting question, but you already gave an answer because this generation, it's like, it's super fast. Correct. I would say they know it, but at the same time, they, not in a right way sometimes. Okay. When I say sometimes, we see that, people are actually getting forwarded with artificial intelligence and all. Correct.
Hmm.
But at the same time, the human touch is, that human connection is actually being apart.
Hmm.
Okay. Yes. So that's where, parents again will come into the picture.
Hmm.
Okay. Because they are the first teacher. And also, it is also said that, children do not follow what you say, they
Hmm.
follow what you do.
Right. Hmm.
Okay. So at the same time, when you please watch it, this is what we would say even in our parental sessions as well. So
Hmm.
be watchful, be mindful about how you are being in front of your kids.
Hmm.
Okay, that's how they get to learn. That's how they get to see. That's how they get to imbibe in themselves that okay, this is the way that I can vent out my emotion. See, if you're being aggressive, then the aggressiveness will pass on, and then if you're being assertive, then that will also pass on. And if you're being in a positive way, or else respond in a positive way, then definitely that will also pass by. So
Oh,
that is the reason I would recommend parents to be watchful, about their emotions, right?
right.
And yes, emotion regulation, when you speak about tool, when you speak about emotions and how to express in, a right way. So take when we try to express our emotions, there is always it's like what do you say, the thought added to it. Okay, it's not just emotion, there is one more thought added to it.
Hmm.
So definitely watch out your thought and then your emotion, I would say.
Okay, so parents, you do not have any option. You need to put in the hard work and you need to strive towards that so that your kid learn from you rather than telling actions are important. So put in
Absolutely,
the right
absolutely.
hard. Yeah. So parents do not have any other option. They need to work hard towards it so that they can raise next generation who are like emotionally intellectual and can be happy whether they have anything or not, right? Great.
Yes. It is
So,
not that hard also, Vana, when we actually practice it. Because we say it, once you practice anything, definitely it will be the part of your habit. Okay.
mm,
So if you are going for physical activities, if you are
mm,
doing it regularly, then
mm,
definitely one day if you skip also, it will remind you. Your body will remind you. At the
right.
same time, all your emotions and thoughts are also same. See
Mm,
how you are making it to be appreciated. That
mm,
is what matter.
mm,
Okay, so when it matters, then when you are imbibed with with the positive thoughts and positive emotions, then definitely that's what you pass by.
mm,
Correct. So you cannot expect an apple from mango tree.
right.
No. So your efforts are important and it is appreciable. You may not see it on a very short term, but in long run, you will definitely see all of it.
Okay. So, though maybe initially we feel it as fake, not ourselves acting like that, but as days pass on, we will get habituated to those good habits, right? Okay. So, just we need to practice and keep practicing until something makes sense out of it.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And also the freedom of expression should also be there. I'm not saying all negative or else the other things about this generation or parenthood, but the the freedom of expression. See, everybody tries to express their emotion. Okay, that's what happens. Maybe the communication is different, or else the way they convey is different. But when you really know the intention, you can, when you realize the intention of the other person, please make sure that you meet that intentions. It's
Hmm.
not that their expression. Sometimes we may say that, can't you know this in an aggressive way? But what we intend is, you should know this,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So when the other person grasps that, this is what they meant,
Hmm.
okay, rather than kindly be more watchful about, your intentions,
Hmm.
okay, or else, the other person's intentions, then the misunderstandings will definitely, will be disappearing, I would say.
This
Because when, please focus on, yeah, it comes in a communication manner. It's
Hmm.
like, the way you're conveying,
Hmm.
it tells more about, what you are. But
Hmm.
at the same time, when you actually know the other person's intention and, try to convey it in your words, then definitely that weighs even more.
This is a very good point, interesting, because most of the times I see the reason I personally get angry or I get into fight is because I don't see intention. All I see is my respect or my ego. I put in myself first rather than seeing others' intention or the end result that I'm looking forward to. So this is a very good point. So every argument or every conversation should start with the intention, right? What are we looking up for it? And what is the intention of the other person? Why is he behaving the way he is, rather than putting everything on ourselves, right? Yeah, very good
Absolutely,
point.
absolutely.
Very good point.
Thank you. So it's always about, not always about expression, but always about the intention. Okay, when you actually focus on the intention, then
Mm,
definitely, half of the arguments or half of the misunderstandings
mm.
definitely will be resolved.
Okay. So our focus should be always in the intention and the result that we want rather than ourselves. Focusing, yeah. So coming to the next question, what is your perspective on happiness, especially in children? How do you define happiness, both personally and professionally?
So I would say, personally, I would say that, when you have a freedom of expression, then definitely it gives you immense of happiness, I would say. Because we all suffered in our childhood also. Even if you don't like something, we tend to, what do you say? That, the artificial happiness, or
Hmm.
else, we just to, make the other person happy. Okay, we used to do that. Okay, even if someone friend, someone or the other, like, even if they, when they gift us, I'm not saying it is wrong, but at the same time, you should be having, such, freedom to express yourself. Okay, see, if it is not likable to you, you should be able to say that in a proper way.
Hmm.
Okay, not like, not even in an aggressive mode also. Even
Hmm.
I don't encourage that. But
Hmm.
at the same time, when you have, freedom to express that, happy, or else, I'm feeling, or else, I'm feeling, I feel, I felt, it's like, you know, even in my exams also, I should have done it better.
Hmm.
Whatever it is, whatever it is, you should have that, courage to express yourself. This
Hmm.
is what I want. This is what I do not want. And this is what, I'm thinking like twice or thrice. You should have that expression. Okay,
But
because even in our childhood, and then, even in current childhood also, people are actually having, but at the same time, it should be, twice to think about.
But the reason is, let's say, when we talk about childhood, as a child, I was never felt free to share my expressions because I'm always scared about being judged. So it's not about me having the courage, but it's about my family is being more open towards my feelings. Could that be the reason?
Yes, absolutely. The fear of judgment will be there, but at the same time, yes, again, it's a 50 percentage, on child and 50 percentage, on parents. That's
Mm,
what, I'm actually, trying to tell you.
mm,
Like, when you actually develop the freedom of expression in a child, then
mm,
definitely, the child will come up to you and then say thank you later,
mm, mm,
because this is what really important. Even now also, when you're asking, and then when I'm expressing it, I should have the freedom, to express, my thoughts
mm,
about, anything, right? So
mm,
in that way, when the child is having an opinion about it, that opinion should be conveyed to the other person.
mm,
Okay,
mm,
that is a healthier manner. Okay, so later you can go for correction, but most of the parents, most of the elders also would do what it would be like, even in us, amongst siblings also. It's like, they're there to correct us.
mm. True.
Their purpose, yes, their purpose is only to correct us,
True.
and
Yeah.
they can make a number of mistakes. They can learn in different ways,
Mm,
but when it comes to us, then definitely it's like, whatever they say, that is the correct one and that is the right part.
mm,
And then here also one more conflict is, they don't allow us to make mistakes.
mm.
Blame them also. Their intention is not to get into trouble. I mean,
Right.
we should not get into trouble, but at
Right.
the same time, they should also, understand that, by exploring, by experiencing, we could know more better.
Right.
Yes, by learning 100%, but at the same time, by exploring, by experiencing, it gives you, even more purposeful learning.
So,
Right. So if you see, yes, so if you see waterfalls ka picture, it
mm,
doesn't make you any sense.
mm,
Yes, you can say that, yes, this picture is so beautiful. This
mm,
waterfalls is so beautiful. But at
mm,
the same time, when you go actually experience the nature,
mm,
be in that wind, and then experience the smell of everything, then you will know that the value of the place.
mm,
Correct.
correct.
That's a yes. So definitely that exploration should happen, and experiencing also should be there.
Right. So I have two questions here. First one is, as parents, how can we make our kids more confident enough so that they can talk anything with us? Like how they can develop that freedom of expression. What all things as parents we should be working towards?
Right. So the immediate reactions, I would say,
Hmm.
immediate reactions. It's like, when a person, sorry, when a child fell down, it's like you immediately grab the child, and then you beat one.
Hmm.
Correct. Mm.
Hmm.
And your intention is, unnecessarily that the child has got hurt. But at
Hmm.
the same time, what is it being conveyed to the child?
Hmm.
That's different.
Hmm.
Correct.
Hmm.
By falling down, he got one. And
Hmm.
then by saying it, again, he got one.
Hmm. Hmm.
Correct.
Hmm.
So this is the conflict. Okay, why it happened? Because of the immediate reaction, immediate correction.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right. So
Hmm.
that should be avoided. The immediate one.
Hmm.
Okay, the immediate. You don't have to. Sometimes you don't have to react in an aggressive way, and that too so immediately.
Hmm.
Right. The instant noodles may not be the perfect choice every time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Correct. So in same way, so the instant angry and the instant correction. So all this also are not required, I would say.
Okay. So, for example, let's say if it's not instant anger or instant correction, how can we respond? Let's say child has fell down. So usually our instinct is go and pick up that child, okay, and say it's okay, or okay, I'll hit this and hit that. So instead of that reaction, what would be the better way to respond in those instances? Let's say not even child, let's say to my brother or to my sister, if someone does something, I would say, why did you do that? you should have avoided it. Why did you do that? Or
Please
between
take a
wife and
pause.
husband?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So please do take a pause. Yes, you do whatever you feel like doing it, but
Mm,
at the same time, I mean, not no, in not in a correction mode. Okay.
mm,
So basically, whatever the person is doing, there's a purpose to it.
mm,
Okay. So you do something with the one intention, and then somebody else would do something,
mm,
the other intention. Right. So
mm,
when you're doing it, sometimes it's you fall down.
mm,
Okay, there is nothing wrong in it. But
mm,
at the same time, why you had done that, then that should be analyzed.
mm,
Please listen to the other person. Okay,
mm.
it's not that, without any reason they do something.
Oh,
Correct.
mm,
You, so they might also think of something, and then, the end result may not be, as expected, right? So
okay.
try to listen more. When you actually listen, then definitely half of the problem will be resolved. So
Okay.
try to listen to the person and then act on it. It's
Okay.
not that one-way traffic.
Mm,
Correct.
mm,
So it's immediately, you don't have to correct everything. Listen their perspective as well, and then act accordingly in a collaborative way.
okay. So to
If you can
summarize,
do,
mm, yes,
yes,
please go
go
ahead.
on. Yeah. So if it is no, if it is in your control, then definitely you can go. You can tell that person that when you know it, that the path is actually filled with a few things, then definitely you can guide them towards it. If not, you can know their perspective as well. So this
Mm,
is what I meant to say. So try to listen more. Try to be that active listener.
okay. So again, we are back to the point. Finding intention is very important for any conversation or for any kind of emotion. So understanding the perspective of others and being an active listener is very important rather than getting instant angry or giving instant correction. So listening is very important and identifying the intention behind it. That's a very good point. So to summarize our question, like what's your perspective of happiness, especially in children? How do you define happiness? So happiness is all about having the freedom of expression and understanding the intention behind any action or identifying intention of others or being an active listener is something that will help us or lead us towards happiness, right? Great. So having freedom of expression to ourselves and also giving freedom of expression to others. Give and take.
Others.
Is
Yes.
it? Okay. So
Yes.
when we start
Absolutely.
giving freedom, then obviously we can take the freedom, right? So that is your
Absolutely. It's always, yes, it's always about mutual. Give respect and take respect. Give
perspective.
empathy and you get empathy.
Yeah, that's good. Going to next question, I remember during our conversations we had earlier. So you mentioned that the kids at orphanage are very happy, right? You visited an orphanage and kids over there are happy. But then when I see kids around me who are very privileged and have got everything, almost everything that they need and more than what they need, are still not happy. They have some anxiety issues or anger issues with their friends at school. Um, so they are not as happy as they are expected to. What could be the reason?
All right. So let me ask you this question, Vana. So if I give you color pencils, okay. So if I tell you that you only have these many color pencils, first you ask, okay, these many color pencils. I would tell you. So you feel good or else you feel okay. How do you feel?
I didn't understand the question. Can you come
All
again?
right. Okay, I'll put it in this way.
Yeah.
Okay, so you asked for only one pencil. Okay, only one pencil to write or something. Okay,
Yeah.
and then to draw only two pencils you have asked. Okay, so the black already you have, the other color you asked me. Okay, and then I gave you 10 pencils. Okay, colored pencils. How do
Hmm.
you feel?
I'll be confused.
No, I gave you 10 color pencils.
Yeah.
10 color pencil. You
But
even you asked only you were expecting only two from me, but then I gave you 10 to you. How do
10,
you feel?
maybe excited.
Right. Okay. So this is one scenario.
Hmm.
Okay. The other one. Okay. You have seen me with bunch of pencils, pens, markers, everything. Okay. You know that I'm having these many resources, and then that's in front of your eyes.
Hmm.
Okay. You're asking me. Okay. You're asking me for sketches,
Hmm.
and then gave you two sets of sketches or else one set of sketches. How
Hmm.
do you feel?
Like, why?
Provided.
Yeah,
Like you feel that yes, whatever I asked, it's
I
being
got it.
provided. What is there?
Yeah.
Correct.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the first scenario is with the orphans and semi-orphans. They were taught that they are having the limited sources. So
Hmm.
when they get something basic also, that is something bigger for them.
Hmm. Hmm.
You got it.
Hmm. Hmm.
When it comes to the materials, yes, it is a context even in terms of humans also, like
Hmm.
their opportunities also. They're expecting one or two, and then when they get six or seven euros or else the multiple options, then
Hmm.
definitely they feel that.
Hmm.
Correct.
Hmm.
But these days, when you say the privileged children are not having that, because they're able to witness every resource is available in front of them.
Ah, okay.
The environment itself is different.
Hmm.
Got
Hmm.
my point?
Yes,
So
yes.
whatever they're asking, they're getting.
Hmm. Hmm.
So they
So they,
don't know that that yeah, there's something else behind this. Before providing it, what is the hard work that the other person had done. They don't know nothing about it. All they could see is yes, it's a bunch of pencils, bunch of pens, everything. When
right,
they're asking it, they're getting it. It's as
right,
simple as that. But
right. Very
that's
interesting.
it. Hope I answered.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you have put forward a very interesting topic. It's about expectations. These kids' expectations are very high and their expectations are very low. So then how to set the right expectations to the kids so that they feel like whatever they're getting, that they are grateful for that rather than feeling that they're privileged or they have to get it. So how to set those expectations to those kids so that they appreciate everything they got and at the end of the day they will be happy.
See, it's like, not all, I would say, not always, expecting would be the challenging one, or else, uh, I'm sorry, come again the question.
I'm saying like from your answer, I understood having right set of expectations. I mean, the kids at orphanage have different expectations, and the kids who are privileged have got everything.
So
They
how
have
to set the right expectations you're asking,
right
right? So
expectations
it's
so
like,
that.
yes, having expectation is, not always wrong and not always right also. Okay.
Mm,
It gives both pros and cons. But at
mm,
the same time, setting right expectations is like, it's a bit challenging also. Okay.
mm,
Even for the parents.
right.
It's like, appreciating the every effort, I would say.
Right, right. So
Okay.
how do they know
So
how to appreciate that?
yeah. So yeah, I'm coming to that point. So rather than focusing upon, one aspect of appreciation or else one aspecting of appreciating the result, I would say go for the efforts. Okay. So when you actually appreciate the effort, then definitely, your basic expectation is on effort, but not the result.
Hmm.
Okay. So if you're able to say, for example, your expectation, see, I'm speaking in terms of mutual expectations, like, a child's expectation and a parent expectation.
Hmm.
Okay. So, yes, what parents expect, it's like, to have good marks and then, the 10% marks on examination.
Hmm.
But what about the child's capability? That's what also matters, right?
Hmm.
So how are you expecting? Okay, is he interested in the subject? Is he interested to learn about the difficult chapters or else whatever it is? Is it extra support is needed for them?
Hmm.
Okay, so all those things that you know that matter, and um, you should put it in a right way also. Like you should uh, connect the dots. So that's how you can actually it's not one simple formula.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
about appreciating the effort, recognizing their effort first, and then going for it.
Okay, so first we should start understanding the kid very well, and then identifying like what makes him happy and what makes him sad, and then work accordingly rather than going with one simple fundamental formula. So every kid is different, and active listening is very important for parents, right? That's what you're saying.
And human to human connection is also very important. This is a very very major one, I would say, and then I would observe in this generation that's what is missing.
Hmm.
Okay, so the physical bond should be there.
Hmm.
Okay, so the direct conversation, direct question answering. So all this, the communication should happen between people, not through the gadgets or something. So I always encourage parents, to go ask and then interact with the child,
Hmm.
whatever it is.
Hmm.
Might say any number of stories. They might say, something about, their child, their schoolmate, or else their teacher, or else their friend, whoever it is. Okay.
Hmm.
Even they speak about, somebody over the TV also.
Hmm.
Please listen to them.
Hmm.
Please listen to them. Because please don't just, come into the conclusion, yeah, yeah, I know this.
Hmm.
Even they know that but at the same time, they crave to tell you.
Hmm.
Please recognize it. Please let children talk.
Hmm. Very nice. I really love this. I wish my mom taught listened me when I was talking during my childhood. But yeah, that is absolutely necessary. Um, and coming to the next question, you met with an accident. Like long back, but I would want to discuss about the same. You met with an accident where you were bedridden and have to be bedridden for a number of days. But still, yet you made those period very effective, and you also wrote a book, which is very nice. I have gone through the entire book, and I really loved it. It has everything that is necessary to have a happy and a confident life. So you spoke about everything, resilience, you spoke about it, discipline, you spoke about it, and you spoke about many other things. In a very nutshell, like you gave very crisp to-do list things for everything that we needed in life. It is very interesting topic to discuss about it. So I would want to know, like, how did you like it's I mean, for me personally, when times are tough, when everything is not going in my way, it is very tough for me to get up from bed and do something productive. But how
Right.
did you able to manage it to come out of that depression? I'm sure that must be a very tough phase, but how did you cope up with that phase? And what are your tools during that phase helped you to come across that difficult situation in a very smooth way rather than in a rough way? How did you choose to be productive? And I would want you to share some tools so that we can use during our tough times.
All right. So yes, definitely I would love answering that question, because yes, that was a tough phase, Mana. So I can't say that sugar-coating way that no, it was not that much hard and all. Yes, it was, but it was actually hard time for me, because no, that time even I didn't expect. I was I was not with overspeed, or else not crossing any boundaries, or else any traffic violation didn't happen. Nothing happened, but some just in 1 second everything just changed in my life. Okay, so yes, I was bedridden for few months, I would say. And then yeah, first initial days, I couldn't accept that I was into that stage. The denial happened, and then that's exactly the grief fella. Like again, the acceptance happened, and that's how my resilience started. And then I started, getting adopted to that change. And yes, that was a tough phase, where I felt so low. no, and that's when I realized that, my guide, Dr. Purnima Nagaraja, a psychiatrist, she said once, when I was having tough time, she just told me once, when I was expressing that, being a psychologist, how can I think about it? And all those the stigmatic thoughts, when I was putting in front of her, she just told me one thing that, just because you studied psychology doesn't make you god or goddess. And just again, that line hit me very hard. Yes. Before anything else, we are human beings, right? So we do all have, all the emotions. So we really need to admit it and accept it. That's when the later part will come. First of all, what the common mistake is, we don't accept our emotions. If it
True.
is angry or else if it is a sadness, like it lies within us.
True.
If it is grief or something, we don't really admit it. Rather, we put it in other way. Say, for example, we might have, jealous or some sort of envy feeling towards others, okay, towards that one particular person. But then how we express, it's like, in a sugar coating, we don't do nothing as such. But at the same time, instead of you, there's something hidden. Okay. Try
Right.
to accept it, then allow it sometime, and then, let it go. Let
Right.
it pass by. You accept it. Definitely, those motives will fade away. All
Mm.
those negatives when you accept it. Okay.
True.
So that's what happened in my life also. When you asked about the tool, I would say one thing. See, the control circuit, I would say.
Right.
In control and out of your control. So, whatever is in your control, try to identify. This is what I spoke in my book as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, whatever is out of your control, please accept it and allow it to, you know, to pass by.
Right.
Okay, so this is what I say. So that time, yes, that was a difficult time for me. I was having, after my 9 to 6 hours of work, even I felt all alone, and I also didn't understand what to do after that. So till
Mm-hmm.
that time, I was occupied with my work, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Once I'm done with my work, once that logout done, then even I was not having any idea. So I tried my level best, and then that's when I realized that, this is the period I am going to be like this. And then rather than sitting and then, getting sorrowful thoughts about it, and then, getting negative about it, rather I should accept it. Yes, this is the period that in my life I'm having this. And then what happens after the next? Okay, that's the next part. So in our day-to-day times also, in our tough phase also, we tend to focus more on why, the WHY. Why me, God? Why me? Why this to me? Why this happened to me? Why that happened to me? So all this, all that why. When even you try it in a very harder way, you will not be able to find out the answer, the right answer, for your status. Correct.
Right.
So yes, it might give you any number of reasons. Okay,
Mm.
but you can't pick the right one also, or else the correct one, whatever it is. Okay, so rather than trying to find out why, okay, try to focus on what next.
Right.
This gives you more clarity on what can be done
Right.
rather than what had done.
Right.
Happened, happened. What can be done for that? That is our future step.
Right.
Correct. So I accepted it. So the acceptance, I think. I
Mm-hmm.
accepted it, and then, I jumped to what next. Uh, that's when, I got to listen to one webinar, and then where it helped me to, put on all my thoughts. And then that's how, yes. And that's when I realized that this is a moment that I can actually sit and then focus on, the particular topic, and then, focus on myself as well. So the book just does not only talk about, the other's perspective or also the other generalized topics, but it also talks about the self. Okay, how you can accept yourself, how can you make the best effort to become a best version of yourself. The self acceptance, it talks, and then the self appreciation, it talks.
Right.
How to identify, how to introspect, and how to intervene. also the or the interventions part also, it is there in the book.
Yeah.
That's not only yes um, a, a generalized thing, but also a note to the self.
Yes, it is very specific, like what all things or what all tools we should uh, take in so that we can have a better life. So that which I really liked. So it gave like a very essential tips, like how to think broadly and how to be flexible with ourselves or with our mindset rather than being narrow-minded. So that point I really liked it because the reason, I mean, as you said, being in denial is the thing that makes us more miserable during the bad situations. From my personal experience, I'm saying this. I've been grown up in a very orthodox family, which I told you earlier, and we believe in life goes in a certain path, like a curve. So you grow up, you study, you marry, you have kids, you have job, and then you are settled for your life, and your life goes smoothly. Something that abrupt, like something that is missing from these expectations, which means it's a bad life. Okay, so that kind of thinking is there in my family, which has become very difficult for me during my toughest situations. Like I question myself, why me, why me, why me, so many times. But at the end of the day, I have to accept that life is not same for everyone. Life is not a checklist or life is not a box. Anything can happen in life. So that is when I realized if we prepare our mind like to believe like anything can happen in life, that is when we can step out of from that miserable days or I mean when something bad happens, we will be ready at least to deal with that because we have already set up our mind telling it anything can happen in life. It's not just for you. There are many other people are also going through the same situation, or they might be going even a worse situation. So it just all of us are same. We are none of us are god, none of us not like exclusive or special. Everybody will have their difficult situation or phases in life. So flexibility of thinking yeah is very important. That's what I realized. Thank you for bringing this point. It's very important for everyone. And I
Yes.
admire
Thank
your
you so
experience.
much, for your kind understanding also.
Yeah,
Yes, that's so kind of you to mention about my book, and then the topics about the. Thank you so much for that.
yeah.
Yes,
I
it
mean, I was
has been.
very, yeah, I was very happy when I read your book. So it's really nice book. Everyone should read it. And I'm also keeping the link in the bio of this YouTube. So in the description, please go through it. And
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. Going to our next question, what are the, from your experience, or from, can you give us a little bit knowledge about what all things parents should start inculcating from childhood to their kids that makes them lead a happy life? Because I believe our brain is there to be trained rather than to be lived like that. It is there to be trained so that a trained brain is very effective and can lead a happy life or any life that we want. So what are things that parents should start inculcating with kids? I mean, I understood active listening is important from parents, and we also should give the freedom of expressing to them and the kind of values we need to inculcate. Apart from that, any other things that we should start inculcating from our kids or train their brains to lead a happy life? What all things that could be?
So, Vana, interesting question. So again, I am repeating. These days, parents are so smart. I would say. Okay, so it's not like for everything they are searching for alternatives. So in the same way, for the parenthood also, they might search for alternative, like the maid or else the other person. But whatever, see, you are the parent, and then you should be having that bond with your child. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So kindly do not replace with anything else. Whatever the luxurious things that you provide to your kid, but at the same time, please be available to your kid. If not quantity of time, that you are not able to spend. Okay, it's not always about quantity. It's also about quality time. Okay, so trying to find it out when somebody asks you on a scale of 0 to 10, How much do you spend with your kid? When somebody asks you, when somebody tries to pose this question to you, please be able to answer at least above 7.5. We say 7 is average one, but I would say 7.5. Please try to be on the scale like 7 point above 7.5, because that's what makes a child what he will be in future. Okay, how you are communicating with them, and then how you are dealing their strengths and weakness part, and also how you're allowing the child as he is. Okay, so please don't rush towards corrections. Don't rush towards providing everything to him. Okay, please be mindful about what you're providing also. Sometimes overgiving also, it's harmful. Too much is anything, too much of anything is poisonous. Correct. So
Right.
too much of giving and giving this sources, whatever the gadgets, whatever the things, there also, please be mindful about what you're providing.
Mm,
Okay, so that matters, and also your time matters.
mm,
Please give quality time. Again, three things I'm repeating: the quality time, freedom of expression, you should actually have, and also please don't run towards correction. Please don't. Make them explore, and then allow them to make mistakes, and then make them learn on their own. So these three things are very important. Okay. When you're actually spending quality time, then definitely your correction will come into the picture. Your values, your ethics, all this will come into the picture in the form of stories, in your narratings, everything. But at the same time, so when you instantly go and then correct something, it won't be corrected, but at the same time, it would be misunderstood as well. Okay. So please be mindful about it.
I have two questions here. The first one is how these three things will lead to a happy life in the future for a kid. Um, and second thing is, what do you mean by quality time? Like how much time they have to spend, and let's say if it is half an hour or 1 hour, what all things they have to do in those timings. So how do you define quality time?
Yes. See, I would say when you questioned about the quality time, I would say, Vana, what is your interesting topic? Like, other than doing this podcast and everything, what would you like to do in your free time?
I would like to play badminton, or I would like to spend time with family, and
All right.
I would like to go out to a movie. Yeah,
All right. Okay.
yeah.
Right. So I would say, okay, I have now 1 hour of my time. Okay. So, but I love watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So any comedy show or something. Okay. So how about we split this time? We have only 1 hour of time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in this 1 hour of time, doing half an hour of watching TV or else something is different, and then half an hour for your badminton. It
Mm.
can be done
Yes.
within that 1 hour.
Yes.
Okay. Respecting the mutual time,
Right.
mutual interest,
Yes.
and at the same time, say for example, I love talking to you, and
Mm.
then you love cooking,
Mm.
right?
Right.
Talking while cooking can also happen.
Yes. Yes.
That is also quality time.
Right.
That's when even you are also interacting with that child. You are interacting with that person, not only with the child.
Mm.
Even this can be done in couple also,
Right.
right? So
Yes.
going for mutual interest,
Mm.
that's may that may be helpful in further.
Okay. I thought quality time is something sit with them, tell something to them, or listen, but this is very interesting. Yeah.
Necessary. No, doing something. Come on. I repeat this. Children do not follow what you say. They
Right.
follow what they observe, what they see in you.
Right. So understanding what their interests are and doing that thing with them during that half an hour or 10 minutes will make them happy and
Absolutely.
will improve the bond between the parent and the kid.
Absolutely. They feel heard.
Hmm. Hmm.
They also feel respected. That
Right.
is also very important. Yes.
Right. Very interesting thing. I really love this. Though we know it is very logical, but we never tend to follow it. We are in our own world, which is very nice. Thank you for saying it. And coming to the second question, you mentioned the top three things: spending quality time, active listening, and freedom of expression of thoughts, and not correcting immediately. Are the things that lead, helpful for the kids. But my question is, how these three things will lead to the happy life of a kid? So, how does that impact the kids?
Definitely, definitely, Vana. Say when you actually whatever you want to say, when you say it, how do you feel it?
I feel very good
You feel
when
good,
somebody
right?
listens to that. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what, it is important even for a child,
Mm,
even for one person also, even among this discussion, even in it is a if it is a office setup or something, when you actually say your opinions, when you see that other person is actually listening to you in a very keen way, then
mm,
definitely you will heard, you feel respected, and
mm,
that's how it leads to the content, and that's how it leads to the again happiness. Okay, what
mm,
do you mean by happiness? That satisfaction should be there within you.
mm,
Correct. It's not that you're instantly getting the ice cream and then you ate it and it's just done. No.
mm.
Okay. So these are the long run things that lead to happy life.
So, what qualities that child can develop from having these three things from their parents? So, what qualities they will imbibe?
The effective life skills they get,
Kind of.
because all this life skill communication skills, like we are all getting taught about it, right? We're actually learning it consciously. But at
Mm,
the same time, when you actually from the foundation, when you actually imbibe in the child, then
mm,
definitely these are like investments for
mm,
their happy life.
mm,
Okay, so when the foundation itself is strong, no matter how good the building, how strong the building, it will be strong.
mm, mm,
Correct. So your foundation should be in a stronger way.
mm,
Okay.
mm,
So no, at the same time, see, that is the reason we say that your childhood is important, because childhood traumas lead to the negativity in an individual.
mm,
Okay, this is what when we look at criminal psychology, or else the forensic psychology or something. So we first rather dig into their childhood.
mm,
Okay, so how the childhood was, were they brought up in a proper environment, or else was it any traumatic environment, was
mm,
it with any or something,
mm,
all this will be affected. So how we are looking at the negativity, at the
mm,
same time the positivity also will become the part of them, and then lead to the healthy life, when they're actually feeling that yes, I'm heard, I'm valued, I'm respected from the childhood. Definitely those qualities uh, will be developed in a more good way, and then they make the child to be the best version of themselves.
Perfect. So, you gave us very top three strong foundations for kids. So, thank you for sharing those three things. Very important things, I would say. Going to our next question, what are challenges or negative influences that kids these days are more prone to?
Come again.
What are the negative influences or any challenges these days kids are more prone to? Because we are seeing that social media is growing very fast, and these days, I mean, most of the kids that I know are on mobile itself, and they seeing their parents talking on phone. They want the phone, being it a 1 year old or 2 year old to 10 year old or 15 year old. They always want phones, and they're on Instagram, and everybody, most of the kids that I know are on Instagram doing reels and shorts and all. So how I would say this could be positive, and there are some negative influences as well, because most of the social media doesn't allow kids to be on their platforms below 18 years, but still there are many kids like who are using from their parents account, doing reels and all, and doing some kind of interviews they want. So I would say it's a kind of negative influence also, because they get immediate dopamine and uh, I mean, immediate instant satisfaction they are getting used to. So What others, like what other negative influences are they more prone to, and how to avoid them, or how to keep it under control so that that doesn't affect kids so much in the longer run?
Unhealthy environment, unhealthy environment, everything comes under this. See, when you speak about social media, Instagram and all, see, I would say, this is my personal opinion, anything beyond limit is harmful, right? But within the limit is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Children these days, they also, should get used with AI things and all. So even if we do not allow, like even if the gadget time is zero also, they don't be equipped with the technology, around them.
Mm-hmm.
So, they might, face the dumbness, when, something occurs later in part, right? So they should also get equipped in this subject as well. Okay, when I say subject, it is in that stream.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So within the limit, it's fine. Okay, say for example, half an hour time, we allow. We don't tell parents, to make the zero screen time, you know.
Right.
But within the limit, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, within 20 minutes or half an hour, it's fine. And then have you seen today, like, in these days, even a child can edit and edit the video and then, upload it in an amazing way. Like,
Yes.
they're super good at all these technology things, right? So why should we kill that talent also? We don't have to. At the
Mm-hmm.
same time, rather we can invest their time in other aspects as well. It
Mm-hmm.
can be sports, it can be, the musical instruments, it can be, we have 66 hours. Yes. So the time can be invested in the other forms of arts as well. We don't have to stick to that one particular gadget.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So try to focus on them as well. Okay. So social media is not always a devil, but sometimes it is okay also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So within the limit, it is okay. But beyond the limit, when you see that your child is crossing the line, please get him engaged into the different forms of arts. Okay. Make the time utilized. Okay. So time is very important. So make the time as investment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I would say that.
So what is the line? Where to draw the line? How do we know, okay, this is where the kid is supposed to not to cross this boundary?
See, when you check on them, then definitely you will be able to know it.
Hmm.
It's not always, one line, like, the visible change, if you can grasp a child's behavior is, going in a certain way,
Hmm.
where it is not appreciable, then that's the line.
Can you give me an example? Like,
Mm, yeah. So when we speak about social media,
mm,
right? So when you see that, the child is, crossing the line and, opening other sites also, then
mm,
definitely you know it. And then it reflects on their behavior also, and then it reflects on their verbal communication also. When they say, something bad word, or else, the further thing, whatever, that's a caution for you. That's a caution for you to cut off.
cut off to how
Okay, that's
many
the caution.
hours?
The quantity. The quantity time. So whatever you require, if the child is requiring for 10 minutes for his subject, this thing, or whatever the tuition, whatever is happening, it's happening virtually also these days.
Mm,
Okay, so you will be able to know it. You will be able to grasp it. So
mm,
once you do it, then definitely that is in your hand as
mm,
parent.
mm. And I hear this word a lot from kids these days, telling I'm getting bored, I won't, that's why I'm on phone.
Yes.
I'm bored, what to do now? I'm bored, what else I can do? So at that timing, do you think that is also a symptom of
Yes, invest
crossing?
their time into that. That's what I'm giving you the indirect solution also. So
Mm,
invest their time into the 66 arts. There
mm,
are various art forms.
mm,
Please invest their time in a proper manner.
mm.
Okay.
And I
So
mean,
it's not just about social media. It's not just about the gadget one.
mm,
No.
mm,
Yes. So in make them go to a sports person, or else coaching, whatever, make them play,
Hmm.
whatever it is. Do
Hmm.
it, do it, and then try to make them invest their time into different forms of arts.
So now I want
That's
to.
how they get that diversion also. Yes, that's how they get diversion also,
Right.
and then they can utilize their time in a proper way.
Right. So till now we talked about from the perspective of kids, but at the end of the day, parents are also human. They will also have their limitations. So talking from their perspective, I mean earlier like one parent used to work. Right now, both parents are working. So both of them are limited with their timings, and both of them are having constraints. And at the end of the day, they're also humans, and they do go through their own rough phases and their own through emotional states, from being angered to depression or whatever. They have their own issues as well, but few might find it very challenging to spend time with kids and to take them out. Rather they feel like, okay, giving mobile is the best thing so that they get engaged, or putting them on in front of TV, okay, let them watch. Okay, I mean, it's not wrong from their perspective. They have their own challenges too, right? At that time, what's the best thing, or what's the thing that you can say which doesn't eat up both parents and kids? Any minimal
All
or
right.
simple things that they can do that make both of their life easy and productive rather than like having negative influences.
I have already answered this question, Bana. So making that time into invested into different forms of arts. It's like for a child, you yourself, you don't have to get them to a coach or somebody. You just have to you don't have to coach them. There are people to coach them also. Okay, you can direct them towards it. Say for example, you don't have to make them learn this musical instrument. You don't have to teach them. There are people to teach it. Correct. So trying out the alternative solutions.
What if there is a
Right.
financial constraint as well with this?
I'm sorry.
What if there is a financial constraint too? On top of all these emotions, all these things, what if there is a financial constraint too? What best thing they can do?
Financial crisis, then we'll have to think think back and then think twice about it. But at the same time, there are ways, not just in 66 forms of arts, but at the same time, there are ways to also like as I told you earlier, like making them involved in what you're doing. Like if you're cooking, make them involved in it, or else if you're doing something, make them involved.
Hmm.
Okay, so making them involved in what you are doing does also make a difference. I'm not talking about an office perspective, like you have to make them involved in your office things and all. No, I'm not telling that, but at the same time, make them involved in certain activities. Okay,
Okay.
like these days they don't even know how to fold their clothes.
Hmm.
Correct.
Hmm. Hmm. Right.
So yes, so by yeah, so those self-learning skills are also important.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
and then telling them what can be done, and then asking them to do what best you can do. So
Right.
all these things,
Right.
right? Or else giving them a topic, and then try to know more about it, and then give a demonstration. Or else if you are in a debate competition, how do you speak about it? So all these forms are also it gives a good amount of self confidence also.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. As you
did I
brought.
answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. As you brought this topic of essential skills, I have seen somewhere in Japanese, the schools doesn't teach any subjects initially. They'll teach only the life skills, how to respect others, how to cook, how to fold the clothes, how to clean. So all these things they will teach kids. But here, especially in our community, we feel like those are the things that we should not do. And we also do not teach our kids. Doing those. I think there is no harm teaching them those skills of, I mean, folding their own clothes, cleaning their own room, dusting, or these are all life essential skills. I think we should start seeing them in a different way, and we should start teaching our kids from their childhood so that they start respecting those things as well, right?
What I'm focusing here is, it's not that, wrong that, you're providing all the sources, but
Mm,
at the same time, the available sources, whatever that you are providing to them,
mm,
make sure that, they should recognize it.
Mm.
Even not absolutely instantly, but at the same time, even in later part also, they should feel that okay, these are all available to me because of the hard work of somebody, like my father, my mother. Okay,
Mm.
they should be able to recognize it. Okay,
Mm.
so
Mm.
once that admission comes into the picture, then definitely appreciation comes.
So, how do they recognize that effort?
When the time comes, I would say. How did we recognize our parents' efforts? So
When,
when we get to see, yes,
right.
right. So through our own experience, it's
So,
not
it,
that one benchmark is there.
mm.
No, but at the same time, when the moment comes, then definitely that realization would come.
Okay. So, to get that moment early, we should start involving them in everything that we, most of the things that we
Absolutely,
do,
absolutely. See,
so
that's
that
what
they are.
I focus more upon, Vana. Like, effort is more important. It
Mm.
is not, somebody's for the sake of somebody's appreciation, you're doing it.
Mm.
Okay. So how much effort that you are putting into? See, parenthood, is given to you.
Mm.
Okay. So though it's a choice or it's not a choice, but when it is being given to you, then you should do it in a proper way. Correct.
Right.
At least you try to be. Okay.
Right.
You can't escape from that responsibility. Not at all.
Right.
So when you have to do it in a proper way.
Mm. Mm.
Right. Give your best effort to it. And at
Mm.
the same time, I do understand the emotion of the parents as well. Not all the times, they can be idle. But
Mm.
at the same time, they can be, in the real self, they can be otherwise also. But at the same time, it is not that. Again, I'm telling, like, we all are human beings. It is okay to, have mistakes too. But at the same time, please, when you identify it, go for the alternative solutions. Okay,
Mm.
it's not that, and please do not deny it also.
Mm.
Even when you deny it, the result will be even more pathetic. So
Mm.
rather than denying it, rather than having the concept of yes, I am the one, I am being parent, I know very well.
Mm.
Okay, so somebody else also would know better than you.
Mm.
Right. So
Mm.
rather than being into that deny mode, I can't be so rush, I can't be so aggressive. No, no, who told that? No, rather than going for all these things, try to accept yourself and then admit it and then go for the alternative solutions. That's what I say. That's what I say even in my book, Three Eyes. Okay. Once
Right.
you identify it, introspect it, analyze it,
Mm.
analyze where you're going wrong, where you're going right. The right versions, appreciate yourself, and then try to be more good and try to continue it, maintain the consistency, and then those whatever the challenges, try to focus them and then try to put your efforts to overcome them.
Mm. Mm. Right. Um, Going to our next question. In 2018, Delhi introduced classes of happiness classes in their government schools. Can you talk a little bit about it? How does that impact kids? And do you think we all should start developing those kind of classes in schools?
That's actually very, very good moment, I would say. Okay, that is a very appreciable one, according to the school standard, also, when it comes to the psychology also. Yes, the happiness classes, yes, definitely. Indeed, they should introduce, uh, in our classes also.
Yeah, great.
So yes, yeah, so during those times, again we feel heard, and then that appreciation happens, and then that satisfaction happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
so definitely, even I would vote for them.
Right. Good to know. And what all things that we can start introducing during happiness classes that would benefit kids in the longer run?
Uh, Yes, again, the topic coming to, we are going in the same direction, the freedom of expression, and then, how they are, growing up, and then, how their contribution will be to the society. So when we speak about the society as well, and then self-growth as well, it would be like, the physical growth we speak, and then, psychological growth we speak, and social growth we speak, and then the spiritual growth we speak, right? So it's like, the personal growth happens, because of those classes and all. the psychological, they're able to regulate their emotions, and in terms of social also, they're able to recognize who who are the people, they can allow them into their life. And then, can they be aggressive, or else should they be assertive enough? And then, what sort of people that, they can allow inside of their circle. And also when it comes to the spiritual life, they also get to learn, the other things as well, like the devotional things, whatever the philosophical things and all. Right. So when we speak about the social circle, that is also very important. I think we speak about it later.
Right, sure. I guess we should cover all the elements that you covered in your book, be it resilience or be it hardworking or be it self-awareness or being it open-minded. So I think we should cover all those topics during these happiness classes. And I hope every state in India will understand and appreciate the importance of happiness classes and start this in the government schools and private schools also, so that we have a happy and a healthy future generation. um, and thank you so much for sharing so many valuable things. So this episode has given just what we are looking for, and I hope parents will get one or two important points from this episode. I mean, there are so many important points, and I hope they will pick few, and that helps them in their journey of parenting. Do you have anything to add before we wrap up this episode, or anything you want
Thank
to
you,
add?
Anna. Thank you so much for choosing me as your host. And then,
My
you're being
pleasure.
very kind and very generous. And then throughout the session, it's very, very nice meeting you. And then, hope, all your insights and minds as the mutual conversation, whatever that happened, it would benefit, at least one or two people, around. And then, yes, it's lovely meeting you. And then, it's lovely talking to you.
It's
And
my
then the
pleasure.
passion you have, yeah, the passion you have, behind the child psychology. So most of the things, you spoke, and you focused more upon child psychology, and thank you so much for doing that, because I always believe personally the foundation is very important, and then if the foundation is strong, then definitely your building will be strong. So personally I believe in that, and then you straight away focused on it, and thank you so much for doing it. And then hope it helps the audience also. And yeah, so my apologies if I hurt, or else, anybody's feelings or something. So whatever I shared, those are my personal
No,
opinions. And
no, you rocked it. You rocked it, and you shared your happiness with us also. So your happiness radiated, and I hope this episode will be beneficial, and it might be helpful for to other parents. And thank you so much again
thank
for
you so
joining this. And if you like this episode, please subscribe and follow. So we'll be having this kind of episodes and discussions towards happiness in many more episodes to come. Thank you so much, Priyanka.
much. Thank
Mm,
you so
Just
much. Thank
stop
you so
the
much.
recording.